when you say a phrase like "better than Batman," I think it gets people's attention because my personal opinion, we'll go into this on the episode, is that Batman has become a repository for kind of hyperhumanism, right? That kind of this person can do everything. This character can do everything.
Uh-huh.
That look in your face. I don't care for it.
I well, I when I think Batman, I do not think humanism at all.
Well, no, not humanism in terms of the humanistic approach, but more like
Don't say
transhumanism
that.
and like beyond human, also almost. But
Su
that whole
Superhuman, in fact?
like,
Ooh.
one might also say superhuman, um, and him being a hero, etc. Uh, but yes, on this episode, we're going to be talking about two, four, five, six detectives from 2000 AD who were better
Good lord.
detectives than Batman.
Yeah.
Because we like a controversial opinion. I think we've come out the gate this season deciding to put the cat amongst the pigeons, as it were.
Yeah, just how I like it. Let's go.
So this is In Orbit every Wednesday, Athletes.
Get 2000 AD now. Get.
Borag Thung Earthlets, welcome to In Orbit every Wednesday. I am your host, Molch-R, and this is your host, KLO-E. And for the next half an hour or so, we are bringing you the galaxy's greatest podcast show.
Yeah.
Available on all good podcast apps and on YouTube. So thank you for the feedback on the last couple of episodes. Rather interestingly, I'd put up the I think I put up both episodes as like premieres on YouTube, so people could see that they're coming. And the first one,
Everybody's commenting already.
well, so the first one was, did Avatar steal from 2000 AD, which was a couple of weeks ago. And then last week was, what if 2000 AD never existed? And people were literally commenting on these before they'd even gone out, which is incredible. And so thank you for all your feedback on those. Some very strong opinions on
Yes,
both episodes,
to say the
particularly.
least.
But I did, as on the what if 2000 AD never existed, somebody pointed out that I should ask like the old school creators, what do you think your life would have been like without 2000 AD? That's actually a really good question.
That would be aren't you, like I mean, aren't both of us, like, proper journalists? We're supposed to be really good at interviews, and there's people that are just like, "Why haven't you asked this?" And it's just
Dude,
the
dude.
best, most basic question.
So, further to comments in an earlier episode, I think our first episode of this year, I've now interviewed John Wagner talking
Yay!
about Death of a Judge and also his career and whatnot. So, fingers crossed that will be going out on February the. Wait, if that's there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Please,
7th.
please keep us in suspense.
February the 7th, Saturday, February the 7th. It's like 3 hours long.
That's what we want, though.
Yeah, I think so. I
Like,
think so. And it,
particularly with Wagner,
yeah.
I feel like 3 hours is arguably too little, and honestly, I'm surprised that you managed to keep it that short as well.
Well, that's only because I decided to drive up to John's through like one of these periodic storms we're now getting on a regular basis. So it was a nightmare journey. But for those who really enjoyed my interview, I mean, like over 10 years ago now, the 3-part one where I sat down with John, we returned to the pub in the first episode of that interview,
As we do.
as we do, uh, where at the time, I think it was a Wednesday evening, and we walked in expecting it, like, this is in the middle of the countryside, expecting it to be absolutely dead, and there was a hen party taking place. So all the way through like the first third of the
Spectacular.
interview, yeah, we've got this raucous, loud hen party going on in the background. But on this occasion, we returned to the pub, and the loudest thing was people walking around on the floor. So yes, I'm going to edit that and put that out on the Saturday, the 7th of February. Audio only, but really fantastic to sit down with John and just chat away. But yeah, I bring that up because on the way up, I had a proper panic. You know that thing where you've done all your prep
Mhm.
and then you worry that you've got interview blind and you can't think of any questions. So I
Yeah.
asked on Blue Sky for a bunch of questions, and 1 or 2 came in, which was an awful lot of help. But yeah, I had a proper panic. But anyway,
You crowdfunded your your
yes,
interview.
yeah.
It's a real thing though, like, you sit down and you're, like, really excited to talk to somebody, and then all of a sudden you've never thought of a question in your life.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely not been a journalist for like quarter of a century.
Exactly.
So, well, we'll look forward to that and sit down and edit that properly now.
But in the meantime,
In the meantime, how are these 2000 AD characters better than Batman?
yes, I'm already forewarning you. I am fighting off a cold, and for whatever reason, I woke up with my eyes basically swollen shut. So not only do I look like a creepy, crepey gremlin right now, but I'm also feeling a little bit more saucy than usual. So this is
Oh
going to
no!
be
Oh no!
we're swinging wide. It's gonna be like
Well, what I figured, I've drawn up a short list,
yes, you
um,
have.
and we're going to go up in ascending order. And as always, Earthlets, your opinions are very welcome in the comment sections on Facebook, YouTube, and on Blue Sky, obviously. Because it's one of the personally, one of the things that cards on the table. I am not a fan of superheroes,
I'm not either, for the most
and
part.
I suspect a significant number of our listeners also are not necessarily fans, or perhaps ambivalent. And I think one of the many reasons for my views on this is that um, when continuity becomes really important, certain things become um, shibboleths. They become these unshakable things that come
What
to
fun is that?
yeah, exactly. The take on a life, almost take on a life on their own. And one of those things with Batman is the world's greatest detective. Now, under the pens of certain writers, that has become psychic Batman, who's so clever, who's so such a grand chess master that he's 10 steps ahead of even the worst villain. And that is a lot of fun. And it's that classic kind of detective story thing where it's one of the appeals of the Benoit Blanc, the Knives Out
Yeah,
film,
yeah.
that he already he's known from the beginning what the solution is. He's just there to protect the innocent more than anything. Um, so I absolutely understand and share the appeal of an almost omnipotent detective who's already worked it out and is just letting things play out.
Mhm.
And you get to enjoy um, the feeling of superiority that you're a part of this.
Yeah,
You know,
well, I
you're
hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah,
yeah,
it is kind of that.
yeah. It's a I guess and I'm sure there'll be lots of people with opinions on this. It's a kind of a power fantasy
Yeah, it
of
is,
being
like,
the
it is a power move being like, "I'm in on this too." Ooh,
yeah. I too am the smartest person in the room. Thank you very much.
yes. I
Um,
don't know, I think that, I okay, actually, this is an important question. So
mm,
we're talking about what detectives are better detectives or greater than Batman. Are we talking
yeah.
about, like, Batman as he exists right now? Or are we talking about
I mean,
Batman
The thing is that I haven't got a clue what Batman is like now.
Me neither. Oh no,
I,
you're not
I,
doing a good job, Mike.
no offense to anybody who works on has worked on Batman over the last, oh my god, 30 odd years. I've not been keeping up. So I have no idea. So much of my my experience was the Neil Adams period, and also Tales of the Dark Knight, which I still think is that was actually a brilliant title
Yeah.
because it was just experimental. You know, it did some interesting. Had some really, particularly in the 90s, had some really great artists in it. But anyway, not the necessarily my opinions about Batman are necessarily just based on stuff that happened 30 odd years ago. It's more the kind of the character, big circle
Okay. The
character.
again, we're swinging wide. Called
Exactly,
it.
exactly.
Okay.
But what occurred to me was that actually 2000 AD has got some fantastic detective
Yeah.
characters who aren't necessarily gumshoes, you know. So though that will represent a significant proportion of this list.
I think that yeah, I think we need to get into the list because now I'm
Okay,
just
all right.
kind of
Okay.
excited
So,
about
so
it.
I've broadly excluded necessarily people who are too white, like investigators. There's a bit of a you know, they've got to detect something, they've got to work something out. So I'm going to start off with Robo Hunter.
Okay.
Because he represented, and again, this is something that I'm thinking about because of my chat with John Wagner. That there is such a significant influence on 2000 AD characters of Raymond Chandler and Dashiell Hammett and the old
Mhm.
noir, PI authors. Um, Sometimes in out and out parody, and other times just more the kind of the outsider position, not somebody of authority who is trying to be a detective, but somebody
Yes.
who wields no social or political power. And Robo Hunter exists as one of the characters who, by and large, is fine at his job.
Yep. That's that's basically you just described Robo Hunter as a like just he's all right.
Yeah,
He does a pretty good job.
I'm big into characters, uh, and this is because I recently rewatched Slow Horses, um,
Which is great.
which is great, and Jack Loudon's character, River, is so appealing to me because he's shit at what he does. Like he has
Well,
moments, but by
yeah,
and large, he's just a bit crap at his job.
yeah. It's it's he's the relatable
Yeah,
character.
yeah, yeah,
There are
yeah, yeah.
flaws.
Yeah. And but on that, actually, that's a really good example because on that you've got Gary Oldman as Jackson Lamb, who is the Batman, like 10 steps ahead of everybody else. We get to enjoy that.
Mhm.
He already knows what's going on, but we also get the Jack Loudon character who's just a bit shit, hasn't got a single grain of clue of what is going on, but is reacting, trying to do the best thing,
Yeah.
trying to be the best that he can, even though the best he can is crap. But with Robo Hunter, and there's such a thread of humor in the Robo Hunter stories.
Oh, Robo Hunter's hilarious.
Yeah,
That is we're gonna do, like, a proper Robo Hunter episode. But
shall I add it to the list?
I think it's on there, but the good part about Robo Hunter is, like, he is very purposefully the everyman, and I think that, um, not that Batman is not without his flaws because my god, that's all we love to talk about is Batman's flaws, but it's, never feels like flaws in the way that you see a blue collar man, essentially,
Yeah,
and because there is, like, he's smoking a cigar, he's just trying to get shit done, and it is a more relatable sort of experience. He's the, uh oh god, I was just gonna say he's kind of meant to be like the Han Solo of detectives in the 2080 universe, but he's
Yeah,
not. He's
yeah.
the character in Spaceballs that's meant to be Han Solo. Do you know what
I
I'm
haven't seen
talking about?
Spaceballs since I was a kid,
Oh
so
my god. Moving past that, the like, it is a he's it's almost more pulpy. Like, it's
yeah,
pulpy,
yeah.
but in, like, the the humor pulp sort of way,
Mhm.
where it stays true to what this character is kind of modeled around, but
Yeah.
it's all, like I don't
And
know, I
he's meant to be the everyman in a crazy world, and
yeah,
his crazy world is full of robots,
fish
and
out of water.
yeah, and if you've not read Robo Hunter, you can get the 2 collections digitally from the 2080 app, and in particular, like it's all good stuff, but in particular, the first story, Verdus, is that is as much down to Ian Gibson's artwork.
Oh, yeah.
John and Alan working on that. But slightly different, Judge Dredd. Now, people may be confused as to why Judge Dredd is so far down this list at number 5. I don't think he's a very good detective.
Uh, no. I actually, you know what? I'd agree with you. I
Mm.
think this all comes down to, like, what you view as a detective being. So we're getting into semantics. Um, but no, I think that I would argue that Judge Dredd is too reactive to
Mm.
be a detective. Like he is, he's literally see something, say something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
And
he has the micro gaze as opposed to
yeah,
gaze. Yeah.
yeah, he's the detail-oriented person versus, like, the wider picture
Mm.
person, and I feel like with he Dredd is great at picking up on nuance, it's that he chooses to ignore it and go for the bigger, reaction of it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, yeah,
Well,
no, I wouldn't disagree with you, I think
yeah,
he's kind of a
he's
shit detective.
he's been wrong-footed so many times, like led into traps. I mean, even in Death of a Judge,
Mhm.
the story that's happening at the moment in 2000 AD. No spoilers, but he is immediately lured into a trap that leaves
Yeah,
him in hospital. So and also where he has been a detective, and there's some great story like what's the one with the I can't remember off the top of my head, but things like Day of Chaos,
mhm,
in the lead up to Day of Chaos, Justice Department, chasing the tail of a conspiracy and just not actually, being too many steps behind.
yeah,
Dredd, Dredd only really works as a detective because he has the massive state apparatus
yeah.
at his disposal, a panopticon of surveillance and also psychics. He
Yeah, I was
has
about to say,
like
so how do you feel about, like, a widespread psi division in that case? How
I mean,
does
I
that fit
definitely
into the detective formula?
don't get me wrong. Anderson's probably my favorite character. I really enjoy the we've got Ben Wheatley. Ben Wheatley of A Field in England, The Kill List, Sightseers fame, writing for 2000 AD at the moment with Judge D, who's a new character, who's a psychic character. I'm all for that because that tends to be more horror based. It's not necessarily
Sure.
detective based; it's more horror based. Um, but yeah, with Dredd, not actually without his massive state apparatus behind him, he's kind of a crap detective. Um, but of course, encountered Batman several times,
Mhm.
and they've both got their licks in that scenario, which
It's the anniversary of Batman Dread this year.
it is, it is.
Oh, well.
We might be doing something about that.
We're
Yeah.
getting a bit old, Mike.
That's cool. Well, I mean, I was in. I can't get it now. I was in a meeting. I literally dragged out my 1992 copy of Batman Dread from the
Yes.
file over there, like to hand, which just I can even remember the layout of the newsagent I bought it in. Anyway, moving on. Talking about gumshoes, and again, there is a significant amount of John Wagner in this. Spectre.
Yes.
Now, a relatively new character for the magazine, but
Mhm.
it's something that John and Carlos Escala worked on, and unfortunately was brought to a halt by Carlos's untimely death in
Yes.
2018, and was continued with Dan Cornwell. Um, Spectre is basically a robot detective in a in the Hammett and Chandler mold, and that for me, classic John playing around with those tropes in a sci-fi setting.
Yeah, I love the idea about Spectre. I love the idea of a robot detective, just because it's like, technically, and talking about themes that John likes to play around with a lot, like somebody being beyond, like persuasion
Mm, mm.
and, bribery and, like, things like that, because in order to have that, you have to have, like, an emotional core. Can't do that with a robot detective. You can't, like, that's so that
And it
ultimately, like, that should have him way up higher on the list.
I mean, it's in many ways, it's playing with similar ideas behind Judge Dredd, that
Mhm.
kind of stripping away, when you have a machine judging, something without humanity judging humanity, humanity never comes off well in that
Yeah.
situation. So, but there's a lot of humor, and, because he's a robot, he's a better detective than Batman. Um, Next up on my list, Absalom.
Yeah.
Now, this is Gordon Rennie and Tim Trevelyan. I know, both hands are out, waving around.
Need you to take it down a notch.
Absalom, kind of a spin-off of Kabbalistics Inc.,
Mhm.
which was a series that Gordon did, with, Don Reardon, for a number of years. Um, I just love well, I love the setup because essentially is, what if you combined Inspector Morse, the Sweeney, and Hellboy?
That is that's I have nothing. I have no notes. That's kind of the perfect layout of
Yeah.
Absalom.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's exactly what that is.
It's
I
almost
don't
it's almost as if I work in marketing. Who could have, predicted this? But the what I love about it is, coming back to uh, the Jackson Lambs of this world, the detectives who are 2 steps ahead. He's a grumpy sod. Um, his family are being held by the powers that be as he polices the Accord, which is the agreement between England and hell.
Mhm.
Um, the gap between the two getting closer every day, narrow every day. And That's just a lot of fun. And that is a 4D chess
Yes.
character, you
Which
know?
I also, kind of as we're getting up the list here, we're getting closer and closer to what I think of as being pulp, as, like, cyber pulp,
Mm.
you know? Which is, like,
Yeah.
w it's when, as the list grows, it's the Venn diagram becomes a bit skewed so
Mm.
that, like, the sci-fi is still very much present, but the detective and pulpy part of it starts taking over a little bit more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's how I prefer it, because I 'cause I'm fascinated with the idea of something like cyberpulp, where you're getting the combination of sci-fi and detective stories, because it almost makes it more horrifying, like,
Mhm.
regardless of what the actual topic of it is, because in normal pulp novels or movies or whatever, it's a mystery that's existing in a world that we're at least familiar with. So
Mm.
when you incorporate something like sci-fi, it's a mystery within a mystery. It's like a world that you're having to learn about as the story continues. And so like, yeah, we're getting more into that territory, and so I go, that's where
Yeah,
you catch me.
if you haven't checked out the animated pilot of Absalom that was done a few years ago, sadly didn't get picked up for a full series. Do check it out on YouTube. It's a lot of fun.
I'm gonna
Um,
have to check that out. I've not seen
I,
that.
I think the voice is provided by Denholm Elliott, isn't it? Let me have a look.
And
No,
now our interlude for the day where Molch-R has to look something up on the internet. It happens every single fucking episode.
no, not Denholm Elliott. Hang on.
This episode interlude, oh my god, we're gonna start doing ad breaks. It's like this episode of In Orbit every Wednesday, brought to you by ADHD. We can do 10 things at once, and you can't convince us otherwise. And now back to our regular scheduled programming.
Alas, alas, alack. Oh no, Melvin Hayes. There we go.
Is that worth
No,
it? Does that feel good?
yeah. So I've got confused. It wasn't Denholm Elliott. It was Melvin Hughes who was in Ain't a Half Hot Mum. I really love, and this comes back to the episode we did with the guys from Scarred for Life. I really love breaking out some like old British stuff and just the silence that is met with as you're like, what the hell are you talking about?
No, but you know what? I always like I have a little notebook that I always keep with me, and it's stuff that I end up writing down and looking at later.
Okay. You should
So,
look you should definitely look up It Ain't Half Hot Mum. I
okay.
think you will have a time.
I'm
Anyway,
I'm
moving
sure
on.
we will. And then the comments are gonna be full of like, "Oh, Chloe's so young. Burk, burk, burk." And I'm gonna go, "Yay, the retinol's working." And
So next up we have a personal favorite, Brink.
yeah! We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that it wouldn't, and you thought that we'd leave it out, but you were wrong.
Yeah.
It was just higher up on the list, you fools.
And one of the things I absolutely love about Brink is it's Dan Abnett and Ian Colbard. Is that Dan pulls like a classic switcheroo right at the beginning,
Yeah.
and there you open up the first pages and there's a character called Brink, so you go, aha, it must be about this male detective who is called Brink, and then I'm going to give a spoiler here, aren't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
So spoilers if you've not read it, but it's really good. You should go stop listening now, go and read it, and then come back. Um, Within like the first couple of episodes, Brink gets killed
Mhm.
because actually the series is about Bridget Curtis, his partner, um, and she's involved in these uncovering these vast conspiracies that are taking place on these tin cans orbiting a poisoned Earth as basically humanity dwindles to extinction. So, actually, the title of the series isn't about Brink the detective, it is about the brink of extinction.
Wordplay.
Dan Abnett and wordplay. Who would have
Yeah.
thought?
Who would have thunk it? Yeah, it's like it kind of is the perfect little detective story. And I feel like it would not surprise me in the least if Dan has spent a lot of time reading a lot of old detective stories, like gumshoe stories and whodunnits,
Mm,
and because there are like we've done many Dan Abnett worship episodes, and I will try and avoid this being another one. But it's Dan is so good at weaving,
mm,
and I think that that's something core to a detective character and a detective story overall, is you have to be able to have 20 different threads at once that all eventually come together, even
mm.
some that you might have forgotten about. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden something gets resolved and you're like, "Holy shit, I haven't read that for, a couple of weeks and just completely slips your mind. And yeah, Brink is for my money probably the best. That's my list, Mike.
Mm,
Is
yeah.
I think Brink is probably like one or two for me.
Well, and it's only been edged out ever so slightly from the top two, to be honest with you. But it's the kind of slow burn comics that actually should be receiving recognition from the rest of the industry because no one else is doing this kind of comic.
For real. It feels, because it's actually, like, pretty good humored and stuff, you know what it kinda reminds me of? Do you ever see the Thin Man movies?
No.
No, they're these movies that had, Myrna Loy and William Powell plays a detective, and they're movies from, like, the 1940s, I think,
Yeah.
but they are just, like, little detective vignettes, and it kind of reminds me of that. And
Okay.
I encourage everybody, if you've not seen the Thin Man movies, you should watch them. They're very, very funny and they're very, very clever.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's kind of in that same vein where it's you are invested in this like wider mystery, and there is stuff that you think is going to be one off, but it all comes together, and
Well, the thing that has basically connected all of the examples that we've gone so far is noir. This is the underlying genre.
I know what's coming.
um, and we've had Flatfoots, we've had officers of the law, we've had gumshoes, and what you then need is a character that combines all of these in a vast satire.
You need someone who's an idiot.
And so we come number 2 on the
The
list,
simping detective.
Jumping Detective by Simon Spurrier and Fraser Irving. And um, I mean, Simon Spurrier, a man too clever by half, who takes all of the genre cliches, puts it into Mega City 1, and because it's in Mega City 1, it gets turned on its head. So the smartest man in the room is an idiot and he's dressed like a clown
Yeah. And
because
he
he's
has
a simp.
no special abilities, and he's a moron, and all he has is clown gear. I l I it's one of those series that when I read it initially, I was like, "It's not even my birthday." You know, like, this this was so finely fine-tuned to my taste. I like Simping Detective is number 1 on my better
Mm,
detectives than Batman because, like, he actually does the job, and it's usually partially by accident. He's a little bit like, he's kind of an idiot. He's just got clown gear. Like, a hero that the ci talk about a hero that the city doesn't deserve or need, but has to fucking suck it up. You know, I
no,
it
yeah, you're entirely right.
it's like a very it's a story of no faith is what it is. It's a story of, like, counting on like, unintentionally counting on this detective that you have no faith in, even as a
Mm,
reader. You just have no faith in him, and then somehow something happens, and you get to be pleasantly surprised.
mm.
It's like it's just a wonderful it's such a good satire. It's such a good satire and just subverts and gives into, like, 10 different detective tropes.
I'd initially thought about having Dirty Frank as a joint second.
Can we
Rob Williams and I think is it Rufus Dayglow or Simon Colby who co-created Dirty Frank? Forgive me. Uh, oh no, Henry Flint.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't Henry do it first?
Yeah,
And then Rufus Dayglow had a go at it.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but he
the Mega City Undercover books have all of their stories, and I didn't include him because I think he's more of a spy.
I agree. And also, can you please put Dirty Frank as a subject on our list?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Because I have so many thoughts and a giant space in my heart for Dirty Frank.
That's on the list,
Okay.
which grows by the day. So yeah, it's a simple detective. A good, had his own adventures, and then in the big trifecta event, which was the unannounced massive crossover of 3 different strips in 2000 and whatever it was, 11, 12, somewhere around there.
11, maybe?
Yeah. Comes together with Dirty Frank and well, not Amy Nixon, but yep. No, not Amy Nixon, because she was in Titan. Anyway, I definitely remember things. Uh, that is well worth reading. It's kind of one of those ones where you don't get the same impact from it that you do when you were reading at the time, because literally we didn't tell people it was going to be a crossover.
No.
It kicks through a door in the final panel of his story, and then kicks through the same door from the other side in the panel of the next story. It's genius, absolutely genius.
Well, that whole we're getting off topic, but
Mm.
if I reread the collections of all of them in a oneer not
Mm.
too long ago, actually, and I was just like, "This is literally one of the perfect comic events of the past, like, 2 decades. Done. Done
Yeah.
and dusted." You know? Yeah,
We were
so
like,
please.
"I'm not gonna tell anybody
Uh
it's coming. They're just gonna discover it for themselves."
yeah, no, we're not saying shit.
Yeah.
Go and read it for yourselves. It's actually worth it. It's like it's yeah, for my money, one of the best crossover comic events.
Mm.
But
Um,
you wanna talk about your number 1 because we are rambling off.
well, yeah, and it's worth pointing out that all of these, I think, are better detectives than
Oh, yeah.
Bat. Not
This
necessarily
that's
because they're better at detecting, but they're just better detectives
they're
as
more
characters.
they're more interesting characters. Oh,
You're gonna get them writing in, Chloe. They're gonna
it was
be hammering on your door.
it's fine. What else is new?
So number one, and it's very important that if you do not know about this character, if you have not read this strip, that go away and read it and then come back,
Yeah.
because this is a massive spoiler, what I'm about to say. You have been warned.
Yeah.
My number one is Stickleback
Hmm?
by Ian Edgington and Disraeli. Artwork, beautiful.
It's Disraeli, that goes without saying,
Yeah,
like,
but
it
it's Disraeli as if he's painting on ivory. You know, you've got all these layers of grays and blacks and white, and it's just stunning. And I can't remember if his blog is still up, but he went into how he developed. I mean, the man's a psychopath, but how he developed this style for this strip, and it's unlike anything else in comics. It's incredible, and it's set in a kind of alternative Victorian London, where this king of crime, Stickleback, who's this man whose spine is on the exterior of his back, so he's kind of bent over, big long nose, big bushy eyebrows, and it's about his various battles against other criminal kingpins, against the law, trying to do what's best for the East End of London, for the community that he's a part of. It's absolutely stunning. And then, not that it has ended, because there is going to be more, but after quite some time in a number of books, it is revealed that all along, Stickleback was Sherlock Holmes.
that's
Therefore,
that is
automatically
actually,
making
like
him a better detective than Batman.
that makes him historically, literally
Yeah,
better than Batman.
yeah,
Like
great. And again, it's one of those great reveals, like, because the series had been going on for so long, and I will, I definitely do all my research before I start talking about stuff.
You know,
Uh,
that's the thing too. I'm like talking about, the uh, like, hidden identity thing of superheroes with Batman, the whole Bruce Wayne thing. I'm like, "Bruce Wayne who? Stickleback was Sherlock Holmes the whole time?" Incredible stuff. That I yeah. Mhm.
So it started in 2006.
Was it
And
that long ago?
yeah, and there were at least a couple of collections out of it. And then, oh, you're joking. Really? Oh my God. So the last time it appeared in 2000 AD,
Mhm.
and this database um, doesn't go beyond 2021. I don't
Okay.
think it's appeared since then. It went from 2006 to 2020. I know.
Hmm.
So it's 14 years.
That seems nuts to me. I don't know don't know how else to unpack that. There but you know what? There have been a lot of series where especially when I'm kind of looking them up and doing additional research and reading and stuff where I'm like, "This lasted way longer
Yeah.
than I kind of expected to," but then again, my sense of time is garbage now, so, I still think that, the year 2000 was 10 years ago, so
I
that
mean,
doesn't help.
you're not wrong. It was.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, 2020. So 14 years, and
14.
what was it? Two collections. Uh, yeah, two collections. England's Glory and Number of the Beast, and then it pulls this big reveal that he's been Sherlock Holmes all along. Like bloody hell. That's
Talk about a lead up.
Yeah, well, exactly, exactly, and I don't know. I don't think I've ever asked Ian if that was the intention all along, but
Oh,
uh,
should though.
I should do. It has been a while since I've interviewed Ian, but de facto, because he's Sherlock Holmes, it makes him a better detective than Batman because
Yeah.
Batman is based off. Well, one of the qualities as the world's greatest detective is based off of being Sherlock Holmes, like Sherlock Holmes.
Ipso facto detecto.
Yeah, but Stickleback's just more interesting.
No, I completely agree.
Um,
This is a very your mileage may vary episode of the podcast, more so than usual.
yeah, I mean, if you are a massive Batman fan and you've made it this far, my hat is off to you. Congratulations.
Well, when you
Please,
say congratulations, that sounds so snarky. If you've made it this far, congratulations for
congratulations,
being
well done, you.
Batman
No,
fan.
no. I, everyone has their faves, but again, it's one of these episodes where we're looking at the variety of stuff in 2000 AD, and even just on a theme of detectives. You've got 6 characters, you've got humor, you've got satire, you've got
Mhm.
slow burn, you've got action-packed, you've got, um, playing with cliches, you've got inverting cliches, and, you go from basically Sam Slade, um, fighting robots to Sherlock Holmes fighting, um, all sorts of things.
Yeah, yeah. You get more variety. You get more variety with the detectives, how about that?
Yeah, yeah, there we go, perfect. So, do let us know what you think, in the comments under this episode, Earthlets, because we are so far out of time, it's silly. Um, we just before we hit record, we were like, "I'm not sure how long we're gonna get this episode to go," and it's been like 40 minutes, so
Yeah,
I think we did all right in the end.
killing it.
But yes, let us know, what your thoughts are in the comment sections. Thrillcast. I almost do that wrong every single week. Thrillcast, all one word, at 2000ad.com if you want to email your thoughts over. Let us know what themes you'd like us to do in
Yeah,
future episodes.
we're keeping
Um,
a list. It's getting too long, and we want it to be longer somehow.
yes, we should be back in 7 days' time for more from the galaxy's greatest podcast show. The wheels are finally coming off. And until next time, Earthlit, it's goodbye from me. It's Goodbye from Chloe. And splendid Verthrig.
See you next week.
Get 2000 AD now. Get to